Welcome, everybody, to the Heal Your Hunger Show. So happy to have you here. It is a great day to be alive, and I'm going to be bringing something personal to you today, which I usually do. My best advice comes from my hard-won experience. So I'm going to be talking about finding your footing in other ways other than turning to food. And I want to start first by saying welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show if you're here for the first time. This is where we talk about deeper issues, the things that will help us find our footing, the things that will help us get emotionally balanced, because it's so easy as emotional eaters to turn to food when we're feeling a little wobbly. So I've been feeling wobbly, and I'm going to be sharing about that. Now, if you don't know if you're an emotional eater, go to our website and take the quiz. It's a quick quiz on the website healyourhunger.com. Right there, when you go to the website, click on that button, take the quiz, get your personalized score, because I find that most people are on the emotional eating spectrum. They're either run-of-the-mill emotional eaters or they're food addicts. That's the high end of the spectrum. That's where I lived. And where you are on that spectrum is determined by two things: the number of consequences you have from your eating and the level of control you have. So when you take that quiz, you find out your score based on those qualifications especially. So take the quiz, get your personalized score, and then next steps for what to do about it. Now I'm going to jump right into my topic because life's a little crazy right now. You know, we have a new government. That government is doing new things. I'm not going to comment about that specifically. I mean, I think if you live in America or you live abroad, you know there's a lot going on and a lot of changes. And that can be really destabilizing as an emotional eater. You know, we're emotional people. We're emotional people, which means we can get knocked off our game really easily. And in spite of all the things I do to stay emotionally healthy and on target and really have my footing and my grounding in place, I do a lot of things mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually to stay grounded. I'm all about that. And yet, right now, with all the different changes and potential consequences of those changes, I feel a little wobbly. I feel a little off my game. I feel a little emotional. People I love are affected by things that are happening. And again, wherever you sit in the political spectrum, it doesn't really matter. Instability is here. Instability is here, or a feeling of instability at least. Change brings a sense of instability. It's just what is. And I have instability in my personal life. My mother is moving from one side of the country to another side. She has Alzheimer's. I'm doing some remodeling in my house, so I and my partner are living in our bedroom. Like, we have a coffee machine and air fryer in our bedroom, so that's destabilizing. Some travel going on, changes in business, changes in my team, and then the financial markets. That's certainly something I'm noting as well. So there's a lot going on. And as emotional eaters, we're sensitive souls. We're sensitive souls, which means when there's energy in the air, when there's energy of change, when there's talk of change or talk of, scary things, whatever they are, we tend to absorb that, right? We tend to absorb the scary energy because we're empaths, because we're super sensitive. And again, in spite of all I've done, I'm feeling it too. I'm not immune to feeling knocked off my game. And so I want to speak to this because if I'm feeling it, you're probably feeling it too. And so what's really important is that we don't turn to food to find our footing. And I know that may be exactly what you're doing right now. You may even be doing it as you listen to me, which kudos to you. At least you're doing something productive as you eat, which is listening to a possible solution. My experience is I have to get grounded. I have to get grounded in a healthy way, or else I'm going to turn to food for my grounding. And food is grounding. We've been overeating for decades as a way of getting grounded. That's one of the reasons why we love sugar and carbs, right? Because they are grounding. They're heavy. They've got a lot of calories. They feel grounding. Bread feels grounding. And it also chemically is grounding. It will help fire the serotonin in our brain and help us feel more calm. So that's a thing as well. Point is, we have used food to find our footing for so long, and when things are a little wobbly in the world, it's possible you're going to be doing that even more right now. Okay. And so, what I want to say is, you don't have to. There is a better way. There is a new way of finding your footing, a new way of feeling secure, a new way of knowing it's all going to be okay. And that is the truth. I believe that to my toes. I believe it's all going to work out, and it's probably going to be a little rocky before it does. And so it's the rocky part we have to learn how to get through as emotional eaters so we don't eat our way through it. When COVID happened, everybody was overeating. Everybody, even people who weren't emotional eaters, typically were overeating. I had friends who used to be so like, oh, that's nice what you do, Tricia. That's lovely. Good on you. But they had no relation whatsoever to what I was talking about. Like, they're like, oh, that you and those emotional eaters. And then when COVID hit, I'm getting these phone calls saying, Tricia, I can't stop eating. I am an emotional eater. Oh my God. Like, it's all of a sudden, because it was such a scary time. We were all knocked off our game. Our schedules changed. Our ability to work changed. We were scared. We had more fear than ever, running through our lives and running through just the news and everything. And so what did we do? We ate, because eating felt grounding. And I started this campaign, which is called Don't Eat the House, because everybody was eating. And I was trying to offer support. But we're in a new time now that can be as equally destabilizing as COVID was. And so I want to be here to encourage you, hold your hand, and support you through it, and support you in finding other ways to feel grounded other than eating sugar and carbs. Because the truth is, food works for some time, right? Like, for in the moment, it feels great. And then after, it feels horrible. And it actually makes us feel worse and more destabilized than ever. Because when we don't fit in our pants, when we're hating on our bodies, when we're hiding because we don't like how we look, that's only going to impact us negatively. There's a saying I love, which is, when mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. So when we're not happy, everybody feels it. And it impacts the energy of the world. So it's our responsibility to find footing that actually has positive side effects. So let's talk about what that is. First of all, I want to say that this week I've been especially emotional and just like, WTF, like, what's going on? What's going on? Where do I find my footing? I feel unstable. So I had to start thinking, what can I rest on? Where can I get my grounding? And the first thing I thought of course, is God. I can get my grounding through God, through depending on God. And sometimes I forget that. Sometimes I depend on things that are material, money and clothes, or people, my partner, my friends. I want a more tangible way of getting grounded. But ultimately, when there's so much change going on, that is not the best grounding. It helps. It helps. Community helps. Friends help. Partners help. But the best is God. My experience is God is immutable. God is immutable and will always be there for us and will always be our rock. So we got to move from the things that feel more tangible and more secure in the moment, move that dependence to what is always there for us and never changes, never dies, never rejects us, is always there. And that's God's grace, and I believe that, and whatever God is for you, okay? I'm not a holy roller, but I am definitely a believer in God's loving grace, and you can call that whatever you want. But the point is, spiritually speaking, what's inside our heart, I believe God is inside of each and every one of us. What's inside your heart can be depended on, which brings me to the next thing I can depend on, which is love. Love heals. And I believe love goes a really long way. So let's say we didn't have our homes. I have many friends who lost their homes in the fires in Pacific Palisades. I live 10 miles from there. They lost their homes, burned to the ground. They have nothing. All right. So what happens when you don't have your home? What happens when you don't have your clothes or your jewelry or your favorite furniture? What do you have? You have God and you have love. Love is another immutable thing, just like God. And the Bible says God is love. Okay. So I believe they really are one and the same. But the love in our hearts, we can always depend on. The love in our hearts, we can bring that wherever we go. And I believe it is incredibly powerful and can create positive change in our lives. So we have love. Another thing we have is our own self-care. Okay, taking care of ourselves is something we can do anywhere, at any time. In fact, we must do at all times, anywhere, at any time. Because when we have self-care, we have a sense of stability. If I were to just feel really scared about the news or scared about the markets, and then I'm like blowing off my meditation, blowing off my prayer, my writing or my reading or my walking, any of these things, my community of emotional eaters, if I were to blow that off, I would feel so much worse, so much worse. So my self-care is a rock I can feel grounded by. When I meditate, I feel so much better. When I eat 3 meals a day, 3-meal magic, when I eat 3 meals a day and I don't snack, I feel so much better. My eating habits do determine my mood. When my food is messy, I feel wobbly and disoriented. When my food is in place, when it's clean, when I'm eating my 3 meals and they're healthy and I'm committed to preparing good, healthy foods, making sure I have the right kinds of foods to eat, I feel emotionally better. It is stabilizing. So I have self-care, I have 3-meal magic, I have God, I have love. And what I also have is the knowledge that if I don't take care of myself, I don't have anything. If I don't have my health, all bets are off. There's a saying, which is, when you don't have your health, you have one dream. But when you have your health, you have 1,000 dreams. Meaning there's so many things that are possible when you have your health. So I bring it back to self-care. Self-care and all the ways that we can take care of ourselves, this is what we can hang our hat on. This is where we can find our footing. Food will not make us feel grounded in the long run. It'll throw us off our game. It'll make us feel bad. It'll make us feel desperate and alone. That's not a grounding feeling. Whereas God and love and self-care and community, right? 3-meal magic, these are things that you can take to the bank. These are things that can help you feel sure of yourself and sure that you're going to be okay. Because we have to take our power back. We can't give our power away to the news, what's going on politically, what's going on financially. We can't give those things our power. We have to take our power back, focus on our own little hula hoop. What can we do right now to feel empowered? And to me, it's the things that I've mentioned. And there are others, of course. So think of the ones that are most grounding for you, but food's not it. Thank you so much for listening. Please join us in the Secret Sauce group on Facebook, The Secret Sauce to End Emotional Eating. Find me on Instagram at Tricia Nelson _. And don't forget to take that quiz at healyourhunger.com and get started on your path of healing. I love you so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next show. If you're ready to get off the dieting roller coaster ride and finally make peace with food and with your body, talk to a Heal Your Hunger mentor about what steps you need to take based on your own history with food and weight. Go to healyourhunger.com and register for an emotional eating breakthrough session and see how fast you can experience real change. It's a complimentary evaluation, but there are limited spots available. So go to healyourhunger.com and register to speak with a mentor today.